Aaron and Constance, intimate interviews, because ordinary lives are extraordinary. We sat down today with Bob Vogelbaugh, also known as Mr. Thanksgiving here in the Quad Cities, to ask him about his Thanksgiving dinner he holds every year. But we also got a little bit more personal with him.
Yes.
Where did you get the name Mr. Thanksgiving?
I guess it came from the media many years ago.
Okay. How did you get started doing Thanksgiving dinner?
48 years ago, I owned a little grocery store downtown Moline. It was grocery out front and living quarters in the back, but I didn't live there. It was like what today you'd call a mom and pop's operation. And primarily my mature customers, I don't use OLD, so that's me, but my mature customers, I said, what are you gonna be doing for the upcoming holiday? And it was almost a unison answer. It was just another day to be alone. So 25-watt ball went off in my head, and I thought, oh, why should this be? Then I started asking them, I'm gonna do a Thanksgiving dinner here. We'll pick you up and we'll take you home. And I wanna get the feeling of the first Thanksgiving. Pilgrims, Indians didn't know each other, and they gathered. And I don't think you'll know everybody, but there was this one lady, and it was gonna be one time only. There was this lady, she had come to my store in a cab, and then my butcher would take her home. And she didn't buy a lot of perishables. And I said to her one time, you know, I can't compete with the supermarkets, but you come in a cab, and even though we take you home, and she was beautiful because she never complained. She said, well, Bob, my stove is a hot plate and my refrigerator is a windowsill. So what she did in extreme cold or extreme summer, I have no idea. So when we were getting ready to take people home that evening, she came up to me and grabbed my hand and she said, I want to thank you for the delicious meal, but what I want to thank you most of all for is the fellowship and friendship that I haven't had in years. So it got to be close to Christmas, and one night I got home from the store about 9:30. Well, back then, I normally didn't used to look at the obituaries, but I do every morning. Okay, I'm not in there. That means I gotta get going and cross kids, me and the school crossing guard. But anyhow, there at the top of the page, Rose Hansen, 91, her funeral service was gonna be the very next morning, a half a block from my store. Esterdale Funeral Home used to be downtown Moline. And so I quick ran over there, and of course they knew me and let me in early. And I always think when you go to a funeral visitation, you see all these massive flower arrangements or plants. Well, Rose had none. But before her service, I made sure she had flowers. Yeah. So it's because of Rose Hansen. I did Christmas for 12 years, and that wasn't as well as attended as Thanksgiving, and I had to let something go because of Thanksgiving was getting bigger and bigger, and I couldn't do two back to back, but it's because of her. That's why we're going into year 48, and most people don't know this, but in 1995, I got accepted by the Peace Corps. My parents were in good health. The week I was supposed to fly to Washington, D.C. and get all my shots and instructions, then be flown over to the capital city of Slovakia. He didn't call me on AT&T or Verizon. I did hear voices in my head. Something here said, or a feeling just said, you're not going. And I'll have to say, the U.S. government, which I understand was not too happy because this was all arranged with the Slovakian government and their people and everything. But down the road, I figured out the reason why. The dinner would have stopped for 2 years because it's a 2-year commitment with the Peace Corps, then you can re-up if you want, but 2 years. I probably would not come back and try to restart something that had been done, you know, for 2 years. It's just, it had just been, yeah, right. So I'm at 48, and I look at him out there and I say, okay, you better give me that 50th because you kept me from the Peace Corps.
And earlier when we were talking, that you said that you're clergy.
No, I'm a deacon for the Diocese of Peoria. We have faculty to do weddings, funerals, baptisms, you know. The only thing, we can assist at the Mass, but not do the Mass. But it's been very rewarding. And I know it sounds weird, but my favorite thing to do are funerals. Because when I meet with the family, I said, your hearts will ache till you're join your loved one. But this is a celebration of their life, and I want nothing but funny things on the deceased. We're celebrating that person's life. They're
Yeah.
on to the better life. We're stuck down here. I'll ask people that are attending the funeral, if anybody has funny stories on the deceased, please stand up and tell it now. Because we wanna, rejoice in those good times
I
with
think
that
that's,
person.
yeah, amazing.
And so, but I've had more people afterwards come up to me and say, I've never left feeling so good after a funeral. And I said, good, then I got accomplished what I wanted, because that's what I want, celebrating
Yeah.
that person's
that's
life.
beautiful.
And I think that's what they would have wanted.
Yeah.
Yes,
How long did you have your grocery store?
7 years, I believe. And then the owner wanted to sell it, and I kept going back and forth. And then the day I decided to make an offer, she called me back like 2 hours later, and she said, I'm sorry, but another agent had sold it. And I had,
Oh.
I forget how many months to get out.
Yeah, that sucks.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did.
What is it now?
It's ready to fall down. No, I mean, there's nothing in there. The building's leaning and everything.
Oh.
It's-
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Was that devastating though, like during that time? Like, did you feel like, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
What did you end up doing?
Well, you name it, I've done it.
We relate to
We
that.
do too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was looking for jobs. I helped out at Skills Incorporated, which was a rehab facility, they're non-existent anymore. But they had a food service program running at the Post restaurant. They had an agreement with the Rock on Arsenal, and there was an instructor and so many students. So I said, would you ever care to expand with more people, me as the instructor? And yeah, so did that, a number of years. I've done, like I say, I've just done it all. Went into partnership out here with a partner in the restaurant that used to beat down.
Which
their-
one?
Well, when we had it, it was like a bad marriage. It only lasted
Oh.
6 months. No, he bought me out.
Oh.
No,
Oh.
he was there almost 4 years.
Oh my gosh.
And when he changed the name, when he had it, it was Wardo's,
Okay.
okay? And then it had been London Transit, Bugsy Brands, Bugsy Malone, all this and that prior to that. Then eventually, after he got out, then it became Garfield's.
Okay.
Yeah, then Red Ginger. But anyhow, and I said it's kind of like a bad marriage. You think you know somebody until it actually happens. You know what I'm saying? And then 6 months, and he made me a good offer. Yeah, a really good offer. So I eventually opened up my own restaurant.
Okay.
And up on 7th Street, 19th Avenue. It was called Annie M's. It was based around the Wizard of Oz.
I went there when I was a kid.
Oh.
Did you?
Yeah,
Well, good.
I did, because I
Yes.
loved The Wizard of Oz as a kid,
Yes.
and I remember, I was so young when I went, but I distinctly remember going there.
Yes.
And I loved it.
Yes.
Anyway.
Well, and then I went debt free in less than 5 years, and everything was
awesome, especially
brand
in a
new in
restaurant.
there.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it was beautiful, but it was the wainscoting. It was real oak. All my countertop was solid oak countertop. Most people could have cared if it was Formica, but it
Yeah.
did look beautiful.
I
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Almost 5 years later, the whole complex was being sold to Blockbuster Video.
Oh.
I fought the federal courts in Chicago. I did. I could have went to prison. No, really, because I was defying the federal courts by reopening when I wasn't supposed to.
Oh my goodness.
And I hired an attorney. I didn't care for her. When you're talking to somebody on the phone, I thought I'd be too judgmental, so I drove up there to meet her. I didn't care for her. And then the day I was supposed to go up to the federal court, we had a blizzard here. And it was bad when Augustana closed down, because they never closed down. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So true.
Yeah.
Yes.
But anyhow, so I call her, and she said, well, I'm still going to court. I go, well, how can you go? I'm the main person here, So she calls me back, and the judge wants to know what's the next train leaving from the Quad Cities. I said, you gotta be kidding me. All we have is no passenger service, just freight service, you know?
Right.
I said, I'm not hopping a train. And, and I said, well, Interstate 80 was closed in parts.
Wow. Yeah.
So through another connection, I got a phone call from another attorney. I felt really comfortable with him. He said, I don't want to make you any false promises, but I think we have a good case here. So I said, okay, what do I have to lose? You know, I'm going to be booted out anyhow. So anyhow, Jim Pinks was his name. Super, super nice guy. I'd have him in a heartbeat for anything. I went up day before, or later in the day, you know, I thought, oh, I'm going to stay right on Michigan Avenue. If there's a blizzard, I'm walking to the federal court. You know?
Yes.
You know. Well, the original judge that had the hearing, he was out of the country. So it was a new judge, and the new judge went overruled what his fellow judge had already done.
Oh.
So anyhow, so then he said, what are you gonna do? I said, I'm reopening. He said, you are? I said, yes. He called me the day they were supposed to come, you know, and I wasn't as brave as I thought I was, because I thought they'd probably just take me to the Rockland County Jail. Oh no, he said, you'll be taken up to Joliet. I said, oh God. Oh.
No one wants to go to Joliet.
Yeah, I know.
No.
So it was, all the media was there, the place was packed, and you know, he called, and my attorney then, and he says, I said, it's packed, all the media is there. He said, this is the statement you give them, and you don't go beyond what I'm telling you. Right, Bob? Yes, Jim. That's what you're telling me. I got an extension, 3 or 4 month extension, and then I said, I'll agree to that. You know, I wasn't gonna fight it. How could I fight it anymore? You know, got out then, and I worked at Whitmire Youth Center as their food service director, Oriole School District as their food service director. You know, never a dull moment. And now I'm a school crossing art. This is my 9th year and doing that, so.
Well, and that's where we met you, is like
Yes.
at Erickson's. So
Yes.
I remember that. And we didn't know you were Mr. Thanksgiving. We just knew you as a crossing guard, and you
Right.
would come up onto the bus. I don't know if you remember, but every time we go to Erickson,
Yep.
you'd come up on the
Oh,
bus
you
and we'd
open-
talk to you, and we'd open the door and we'd come up.
Yeah.
Get out of the cold for a little bit.
Yeah. I was at Erickson even
Yeah.
after they closed. The city
Oh.
kept me there for 1 year. The chief financial officer of the Moline School District, Dave McDermott, was saying to me, well, you know, the head of maintenance, the gentleman's head of maintenance for all the heritage buildings. And I said, I do? He said, yeah, you babysat him at 4 years old. He said, I can't remember his last name, but his first name's Kevin. And I thought, I babysat someone like Kevin? I couldn't remember. I'm racking my brain. I'm thinking, oh my God, you know. So one day he's there, and I go, he's in his 50s now. Okay.
Yeah.
I go, oh my God, it's you, Kevin Herrick. I could tell by his eyes.
Yeah.
You know what he's saying? And yeah, and you know, I was right up forward with him. I said, I'm going to be truthful. I was not glad this school was being sold, but I said, I'm sure glad you guys bought it, because when I get done in the morning or afternoon, you know, then I can use the, you know, the restroom. And I said, you know, a lot of Friday afternoons, no one's here in the afternoon. And he goes, you have a master key to the building. I've never had a master key to the building, even when it was a school. And he said, just a minute. So he gave me a master key to the building. And see, what they did was, the kids got fed there by Heritage at breakfast. And then I would get there early to get it all ready for the volunteers coming in, you know. Well, no one ever told me you had to wait till after 5. And I generally got down there around 5. And the one day I'm in there and I look out, oh my God, there's 2 police cars out here, and what's going on? I go, and I open up the door and they go, so it was you? I go, what? I set off the silent alarm.
Oh no.
Oh, oops.
The first year, they were gonna pull me in November and put me on top of the hill, and I said, Well, then I'm gonna be done, because I said, but I've been here, 5 years, going on 5 years now.
Yeah.
And I said, and, well, could you take on another school? I said, well, how can I do that? Well, it's Seton Catholic. They start 15 minutes later and get out 15 minutes later than
Oh,
the public
yeah.
schools.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, and I said, well, you don't even have to pay me extra. And then they came back a little over a week later and said, Human Resources says we have to pay you. Otherwise, and I said, well, draw up a contract, I'll sign off on it. They said, no, I mean, I was just trying to.
Oh, why not take it?
Yeah.
Well, I did, but
Yeah.
I didn't have a choice then. Last Friday, I get there, early to get a decent parking spot, and then this one grandpa, his granddaughter goes there, Allison, and he picks her up 4 days a week, and he's a retired Kelowna police officer. And we were parked next to each other, had our windows down, and talking, and I was facing that way to him, and he said, well, I think you've got to get out now and cross the kids. It's only 10 minutes to 3, and I look over there, well, here comes kids this way and kids this way. They lined up the whole sidewalk, staff, all the elementary kids, and I got very emotional, and I hated that a guy cries, but I couldn't help it. And here's a sign, thank you, Mr. Thanksgiving. And then Shane Barrett, the principal, came over, grabbed my arm, walked me across, and
That's awesome.
I know,
those,
that's so great.
those kids raised $870 towards the Thanksgiving dinner.
Oh, that's amazing.
And how they did that was, last Friday, they could wear anything to school, but they had to pay to do that.
Yeah.
That is so awesome.
So
Yeah.
just blubbering.
It's awesome.
She's a blubbler.
I am too.
Well, I'm sorry, but I can't help it.
I would too.
I know.
The dinner starts at 4, but volunteers do not have to be here until 3 o'clock. And there's
Okay.
enough food that no one goes around and say, okay, it's your time, volunteer, to sit down and eat. If you go out of here hungry and I hear about it, well, then I'm gonna haunt you. But anyhow, but I think most people have already had their Thanksgiving meal, you know what I'm saying? But there's, and they have till only 3 o'clock today if they need a ride by Metrolink.
Okay, so if
Yeah.
you need a ride by Metrolink, 3 o'clock today, they
Yeah.
contact
Metrolink,
Metrolink.
yes.
And they'll bus you here to South Park
And they
Mall.
pick them right up at the door. They don't
Oh,
wait on the
wow.
corner. They've done this over 30-plus years. And the reason that happened, I believe, Jeff Nelson, the general manager, I had him in religion class when he was in 6th grade.
Wow.
So he called me one year and said, would you like us to take it over? And I said, that'd be wonderful, because I had to have people cards, private
Right.
cards.
Wow.
picked. And there's some stories there. And they picked right up to the door on both sides of the river, and trying to schedule this out, but because it would be mindless.
Oh, my
silly.
gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And you can get nowhere quickly in the
Davenport.
Quad Cities.
Yeah.
Bettendorf, Rock Island. I mean, so one year, I have 2 stories with him. One year, and then some people would pick up but couldn't take back,
Right.
because they had other things to do. And anyhow, he didn't pick up these 2 sisters. They lived across the river. So evidently, when he went to take them home, he went over the Centennial Bridge, and then, he was asking them, where do you live? What's your address? Well, I don't know if they had the start of Alzheimer's, or they couldn't remember their address. So he went up Brady, and then down Harrison, and it was going all over. And then they were starting to panic in his back seat. And he thought, I'll do one more run on top of the hill and all over. If not, then I'm gonna take him to the police station. He said, I didn't know what to do. So one of the sisters said, turn right. And it was like, turn, and then about a half a block, something clipped. that,
Yeah.
But then the other one was really dramatic. Taking this lady home, and he was on 12th Avenue, right by, which used to be the Stardust Motel.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, and he was in the left lane to go straight. And all of a sudden she said, you gotta pull over, and the light was red. You gotta pull over. He said, I can't, till the light changes. Why? She said, I think I'm getting sick. Well, sure enough, she lost all her cookies in his car. So he got her home, And then he went to the car wash, and he just took that spray and closed the
Oh my
inside out.
gosh.
Well, where he lived at the time, he didn't have a garage. And anyhow, the next morning when he got up, total, like the ice castle inside.
So anybody that wants to volunteer can also just show up at 3 o'clock?
At 3 o'clock. Yeah, instructions are given at a little after 3.
Okay.
By my key volunteer, Vicki Bertzell Baker.
So, yeah, so
Oh,
anybody.
I love Vicki.
Yeah.
I do.
She's been with me
lovely.
47 out of the 48. She
She's
is
so
really,
great.
but, okay, I got you here this far.
She knows what to do.
She knows what to do.
Yes.
She's very even level-headed.
Yes.
I get too hyper.
Yeah.
Lovely.
The way it's grown, it's like making a pie or cake. If you don't have all the right ingredients, it's not gonna come out good.
Mhm.
So if I didn't have, first of all, if I didn't have a place to hold it, if I didn't have MetroLink picking up people, if I didn't have the volunteers, if I didn't have the donors, but most important of all, the diners themselves, it's all those ingredients that makes it go.
We really appreciate everything that you do. You're very important in our community. And so, and food starts at 4, and then it goes on till, you just party
6.
till whenever?
No.
You gotta get out at 6.
Yeah, well, not
You got
out, is
bouncers
it?
to like get people out?
Well, we start tearing down because the mall, a lot of the stores are gonna be opening.
Oh,
Some
Oh,
will
right.
start off.
Oh, yeah, you want to get out of here before that. Or eat your dinner and then just go crazy shopping.
Yes, and
Yeah.
thank
This
you.
is great.
Because it's what, 2 days before Thanksgiving? Is that
Yeah.
right?
Yeah,
Two,
it
2
is.
days, and you took time out of your very busy.
Less than 2
day.
days. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
that's-
know. Thank
I'm
you.
happy
Yeah,
because
I'm
I'm
just half of your day.
No,
There, you can come to South Park Mall. We're right outside of Von Mauer.
it's free. It's not a charity dinner for all these
It's for
years.
anybody.
It's for anybody.
You can have any income you want.
I don't care
and you
what
can
your
come in-
financial status is.
Right.
It's not a charity dinner. Never has been. And
It's
never
not
would
just
be.
for homeless people.
No,
exactly.
It's a community Thanksgiving dinner. Pilgrims, Indians get together.
So any ethnicity, any beliefs
That's
can
right.
come and fellowship and eat and good food, and you don't have to cook, and
No.
it's free.
Yes.
So
Right.
really, why
and
are
the
you
bus will
not?
pick you
And-
up at the door.
And the bus will pick you up.
And there's a DJ, so there's
And there's
dancing
a
and
DJ.
everything.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
This
So
sounds more
why
fun than
not?
my Thanksgiving. Come to this
Come on
Thanksgiving
down.
instead.
Thank you for watching our intimate interview. Do you know Bob? Do you have a story about him? Leave them in the comments below. Or subscribe. Or don't.